Okay, and continuing on with rational expressions, in Lesson 22 we look at adding and subtracting rational expressions. If the terms have the same denominator, then it's very easy. Let's look at this example. So the method to solve this is just like the same method as if we had this expression. And as you recall, if they have the same common denominator, it's simply, in this case, 4 minus 1 over 9, which equals 3/9. So we're going to apply that same technique here. So we have I'm going to clean this up a little bit to give me some more room. I'm going to rewrite it over here. Now note that this negative sign here changes the sign within the parentheses, so I'm going to rewrite it. Notice that this made our negative 4x, and a negative minus a negative is adding a positive, so that made it a positive 2. And rewriting, grouping in like terms, we see 5x minus 4x gives us 1x. I'm just going to write it as x. 2 plus 1 is 3 over x squared minus 9. And you might think you're finished here, but if you look at this, you can see the denominator can be broken out, can be factored out. If we factor that out, you can use the PDQ method, whichever method you like. See that these cancel, and the answer is 1 over x minus 3. And we also have to go back and make sure that the denominator does not go to 0, and that would be x equals 3 or x equals negative 3. So we have to put that qualifier in there as well. Okay, now we're going to look at adding and subtracting rational expressions that have different denominators. First, I want to point out two different properties that are shown on page 77 and 78 in the text. What is this saying? Well, this property is saying that we take A times D, we add B times C, all in the numerator, and then in the denominator, multiply B times D. All this property is doing is finding a common denominator that fits both terms, and then adds them in the numerator. Note that each A, B, C, and D can be polynomials. Here is an example. First thing you note is there is no common denominator yet for these two terms. Also note B up here is polynomial here, and D is a polynomial. But we go ahead and work it out per the property up here. So we have A times D, so that's 3 times x plus 5 plus B times C. I'm just going to switch them around a little bit. All over. This was A, this was B, C, and D. Here we have A times D plus, and I just switched B and C around, so we have C and B and B and D. So this is that property. Next, we're going to go ahead and multiply through. and we won't do anything with the denominator here. Next, we want to rearrange by like terms. And there's our answer, but we also have to stipulate that because we cannot have 0 in the denominator.